Hey, Richard Bryce here, Tennis Hacker. I wanted to do a slightly different style of video today and basically show you how practice works, that it doesn't work quite like the videos claim on YouTube, that it just do everything in 3 simple steps like Federer. That's not the way it works. Practice can be very frustrating. It's a case of kind of figuring out how to get things working. You understand the technique conceptually, but then you've actually got to make it happen in your body. And that's a different thing. So I'm working on my left-handed overhead. I'm naturally a right-handed player, but I've had to switch because of a collarbone injury. So I'm now learning to play left-handed, and I haven't actually worked on my overheads yet. Initially, I wasn't working on them because I was having issues with shoulder mechanics. I've improved those. I've started to get a little bit of external rotation, so now I'm not going to cause myself a horrific injury, but I haven't worked on them, and what you're going to see in a moment is they're not amazing. I've done a couple of baskets to warm up, and it's definitely not where it needs to be. The timing is challenging. Obviously, I understand how an overhead should work. I spent 30 years hitting them with my right hand, but with my left hand, I haven't quite got them functioning yet. So I want to show you a little bit of my practice and kind of what practice actually looks like on court. Now I said that, and these are actually a lot less horrific than the last basket I warmed up with. So I guess practice does help a little bit, but what I realized that I wasn't doing is I wasn't loading properly. So on my right hand, it's quite natural. I just go back into position and just hit the overhead. But I realized when I did the first set of baskets, I wasn't loading. I wasn't getting enough upper body rotation. There was no separation between my torso and my upper body. And because of that, I wasn't able to generate any easy racket head speed. Now, I'm not trying to hit it hard, but it does need to be fairly efficient. So that's what I'm thinking about at the moment. Just rotating my upper body more. And then the second piece that I'm thinking of is just trying to keep my head up through contact. You can see some of them are okay, but a number of them, my timing is off. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a rest. I'm going to change the setting on the ball machine just to give myself a slightly different look, because the hard thing with all shots in tennis is the timing. Serve is no different. So I've worked on that feed for a while. Now I'm going to change the elevation a little bit and change the spin a little bit. So now the flight of the ball is going to be different. I'm going to have to think about the timing in a different way. I'm going to have to try and get the timing. What I'm thinking about is still the same. I'm trying to load my upper body to trying to get good shoulder rotation, but now I'm just timing it differently because it's a different feed. Quickly, before we get to the next round of overheads, I want to let you know about a free footwork program that I've created for you. Footwork is one of the biggest things that holds most players back, and very few players work on it. They spend a lot of time practicing their technique and doing shadow swings, and that stuff can be very important, obviously. But when you watch players play, most of the time, the reason that they're not able to implement the technique is because they're not set up in the right position. And that's where footwork is so important. So it's something that you absolutely, definitely should be working on and practicing regularly. So I made a free program to help you with it. I'll place a link up there, and I'll place a link down in the description so you can get hold of this free program and start working on it, because it will make a huge difference in your game. an easier feed, but you can see focusing on that upper body rotation. Okay, that's actually feeling way better than it was before. I kind of wish that I'd recorded the start of the session because it was horrific at the time. And the thing that stopped it being horrific was watching it back on video. So if you don't record your practice sessions, record them because it gives you such valuable information. It took me a few baskets of being very annoyed, but I realized I wasn't getting that rotation. As soon as I've got that one little piece, it's now feeling much easier. So what I want to do now, I'm going to change the feed up a little bit more. I'm going to mix it so it's not just coming straight down the middle. So I'm going to give it a little bit of variation. And I always get questions about the ball machine that I use. So it's a Spinfire, wonderful piece of equipment. Makes you very antisocial. You don't need as many friends because you just play with the ball machine the whole time. No, I still hit with real people as well. But it's a fantastic ball machine. So I've mixed the feed up a little bit. I'm going to have to move, so it's going to change the timing requirements. We'll see what happens. Rotate. So now I've got to reconcentrate on what I'm supposed to be doing because I'd stopped loading quite as much. I could probably do with practicing the footwork and maybe not talking. Okay, so actually went surprisingly better than I thought it did. So what I'm going to do now, same feed, but I'm just going to aim for the opposite corner, but it's the same process. My intent is thinking about the same thing, trying to load, and obviously something else I'm also having to do is kind of thinking about where the ball is in space. I spent 30 years doing this. I'm very well calibrated for judging it. So you saw on a couple of those, I was in completely the wrong position. So I am having to think about just kind of orientating myself relative to the ball. But okay, let's go the other way, see what happens. Oh, I'll take that. Rotate, concentrate. Whew. Okay, that was all right as well. Definitely feel like I've made a bit of a breakthrough today. So hopefully this is going to translate to my serve, because my serve is definitely the thing that is lagging behind and that I need to put more work on. And I guess one thing to point out is I'm taking rests. So I think a big mistake that people make when they're using ball machines is they set it up, they hit 1,000 balls, and the quality is really poor in terms of our focus. Good practice takes a lot of energy, a lot of focus, and if you get tired, it breaks down. So you need to work on whatever you're working on. So here, I'm focusing on that rotation. I need to concentrate on that completely when I'm doing it. Work for shorter periods of time, so stop after a minute or so on the ball machine, rest, and then go at it again. So I'm just going to do one final round. I'm just going to be doing one into the forehand side, or one into the deuce court, one into the ad court. But what I'm thinking about is the same. I'm just thinking about being in the wrong position. No, thinking about just trying to set up in position, loaded. And now you can see I've got two different targets. I'm not hitting them as cleanly. Okay, so that's what my practice looks like in real time. Not very glamorous, not very sexy. It's a problem-solving game. We've all watched the YouTube videos. You probably understand how technique should work, whether it's your forehand, your backhand, your serve, your volleys, your overhead, whatever it is. The question is, can you make it happen within your own body? That's the hard part in tennis. Anyone can look at your stroke and go, yeah, this is rubbish, this is rubbish. But when you're out there on court trying to make it happen, it's kind of a problem-solving game. And the way that you have to approach it is one or two things at a time. You have to fix the underlying problem. Like, I really do wish I'd recorded the start of this, because the first 3 or 4 baskets were horrific until I'd figured out, okay, I wasn't loading properly. Timing is the problem that I've got to solve. I wasn't getting the timing, but the reason that I wasn't getting the timing was because I wasn't preparing properly, and because I wasn't preparing properly, I was kind of arming it and forcing it, and all sorts of horrible things were happening, and it wasn't working. I figured out that one piece, okay, got to get that load in the upper body. As soon as I did that, it started to be much, much smoother. But now, obviously, I've got to do lots of repetitions. I have to make a mental note, or I have to write it down. Okay, what did I think about right now that made the difference? It was loading. Because of that, I need to come out and I need to do, I don't know, 10,000 more balls. And that way, when I get an overhead in a match, it's going to be an automated process, and I'm hopefully going to win the point easily rather than shanking it into the net, which I've been doing thus far on my left-handed tennis journey. So this is what practice looks like. Hopefully this video has been useful to you, and if you have enjoyed this type of content and the way that I've done this, let me know, because I would love to do more of this, spend more time out on court practicing, less time at home video editing. If I can make it useful that way, that would be fantastic. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. I love to hear your thoughts, and of course, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do that. And if you enjoyed it, do give me that thumbs up. It helps in the algorithm and all that good stuff. Okay, catch you next time.